Hello, and welcome to whatever this is going to be. I basically decided that I would like to create some video content and suddenly realised that I would need somewhere interesting to film said content. And so I've decided that I'm going to turn a corner of the office into like my filming corner, I guess. And doing that'll take a couple of things. One of the biggest ones is an interesting backdrop. So this beauty right here is what is currently behind me, and there is nothing really wrong with it. It's just not quite my style and not really my colours, so I thought I would take like a big sheet and a bunch of dye and see if I could tie-dye something, that was like a little bit more my style and I might like to use as a backdrop. I do already have like a couple of colours of dye, but they're kind of left over from other projects. I don't actually want to use them for this. I think I might be due a trip to Hobbycraft is what I'm saying. Right, so I am off to Hobbycraft. I have a snack. I'm happy. Let's go get some dye. With the help of the lovely staff at Hobbycraft, I have succeeded in finding the dyes. However, they have like some pale pink up over here, and they have some bright green. They've got like a beige colour, and they've definitely got black, but I have yet to see any grey, which I specifically wanted. I've already got tulip red. I don't have this pink though, so that would be cool. I've decided to change my system. I was going to try and do like a 3-colour swirl effect, and instead what I've decided is I'm going to take the Peony Pink and the sandy beige, so exciting, and do like a 2-colour swirl with those, and then basically after that is washed and dried, I think I'm going to do like individual little bubbly bits or an addition of some description with the intense black, probably like diluted a bit so it's not quite so dramatic. So we are currently prepping essentially old plant pots to mix some dye in. I changed my mind and decided to go for vintage blue instead of beige because I thought it would be slightly more interesting. We're going to mix half of each of these 2 packs in here with 125 grams of salt, and we're using a polycotton sheet, so it will be a lighter colour when it's done than is featured on the packet. Right. I'm not entirely sure how well this is going to work, but we'll do an experiment. Usually you have like squirt bottles to help with this process. We're going for an organic process, guys. That's what that's what I'm claiming. I'm sticking with it. Shall we do some of the blue? The blue's going to be so much darker. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, I like that.
Very pastel.
Yeah, it's gonna end up more pastel when it's like finished, like when it dries as well. I think it needs more pink. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, more pink. I really hope our landlord never finds out we did this to the shower. Okay, I'm just gonna dump the rest of the pink over it and then stick it in a bag and let it cure, dry, take, whatever dye does.
Soak.
Yeah, soak.
Fester.
Less fester, more soak. So, the sheet has now been sat in its dye in a plastic bag for a couple of hours. I'm going to go whack on some gloves so that I don't accidentally dye my skin and give it a rinse before I re-prep it, I guess, to do the black dye over top of it. Right now it's kind of looking like a pastel dream. I'm like pretty into it. So we have a pretty intense black, even though this is like half the amount of dye, powder and salt that you're meant to have for this amount of water. So it is going to be an interesting experiment to see how this turns out, but it's time. The dye is not deep enough to actually cover the entire thing, so I'm gonna have to like quite regularly turn it over. So I did a very foolish thing and flipped the sheet over without thinking and sprayed dye literally everywhere. So I'm now dyeing the pink shirt that I was wearing. Fare thee well. Cropped pink t-shirt that I really liked. So we've done the first round of unfurling, so it's now just like a weird little snake shape, and I am really, really encouraged by seeing this pale a bit, because when I looked at the outside, I'm like, I had a panic of being like, it is so grey, it's going to be so dark, and now I'm actually really excited to see how it unfurls. Okay, this looks like it's going to be really cool. So it is now out of its shackles, I guess. I got really worried that all of the pink had disappeared, but I have found some, so I'm happy about that. And it seems like most of what's coming off in the water is like blue tones, so I'm going to put it in the wash and see how it comes out. So this is what is now behind me. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, to be honest. It turned out a bit more blue than I was expecting, and it turned out quite pale, but I knew that was going to happen with the polycotton. Although I guess one of the things that's pretty fun about tie-dyeing is you never really know exactly what you're going to end up with. I wanted to make something that was kind of subtle, but still interesting on camera, and I feel like I've succeeded in that. Also, I am wearing my not intended tie-dye t-shirt that I got dye on and needed to alter. So if any of you have had any kind of intriguing tie-dye experiments gone very wrong or gone very right, then comment below. I'm curious to hear what your guys' experience is. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button. If you would like to see the various other antics that I'm going to be getting up to over the next couple of weeks, then punch the subscribe button. I'm planning on posting every 2 weeks, ideally once a week. We'll see how it goes, depending on what kind of free time I have. If you subscribe, don't forget to hit the little bell icon so that you get a notification every time I post. And I will see you next time, guys.